guys. Welcome to the other side where we bring you trials and triumphs because when I was down to my lowest, watching YouTube episodes with people sharing their stories is really what got me through and got me to the next step. So I am so excited to have one of my favorite people here today, David Rios. I was literally an Insta fan and I became a friend, and now he has graced us with his presence to share his story because I know if you look at Instagram, you have seen his fabulousness if you follow him, but there is a before. And I'm just grateful that you're here to share with us today, David. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I mean, I made a little trot down here, only less than 2 hours,
Yeah.
and it was well worth it because I really do appreciate your friendship after all these years. I mean, that's what I love about Instagram. You become a family on Instagram,
Yes.
and that's what it was, relatability, us becoming friends and being able to support each other with our events. So I thank you. Anytime you call, I'm here for you.
Oh, I love you. And I love it. Thank you. Because, you know, it's all about collaboration, right?
100%.
There's so much competition in the world. People need to realize like the more you collaborate, the more you can achieve together.
And that word competition, I feel like it brings anxiety. It brings just an ugly feel.
Yes.
And if you look at it for like in the terms of collaboration, there's so much more success that can be accomplished by many people if you do the collaboration.
Yes.
And I always tell this too, like no one will ever have your personality.
Right.
No one will ever sell like you do. No one will ever have that engagement with your client like you do.
Yes.
So why do you fear anything?
Yeah.
And fear is the number one thing that holds people back from accomplishing anything. So if you can get that out of the way and then the competition out of the way, you're one step higher. And, again, anxiety, less than that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, David. But now I want to touch on childhood.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Here we go.
Let's get deep. Let's do that shadow work today.
Okay.
Because, I like I tell you, everybody wants to talk about the accomplishments, right? But I need people to know that before you were accomplished, before you changed your mindset, there was a hurt David.
Yeah, there was.
And I don't even know the story. Like I told you, I just had a couple of people tell me like, oh, you need to hear David's story. So I was like, okay, let's hear David's story. And I want you to share, obviously, what you're comfortable sharing, what you kind of want others to know, what you want to teach.
Definitely.
Because we all have something to teach, and it starts with sharing. So what do you want them to know about little David?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say relatability. I was so ashamed of my past, where I came from, and I wanted to block that out.
Yes.
And I did for quite so many years, and I was successful in those terms of however you want to choose to define success. But my relatability, when I got to a certain point where I didn't care anymore, and jobs were just coming to me, then I started speaking about my past. And I felt like I was more connected. I started getting people from Instagram that were younger that maybe I wasn't reaching.
Yes.
And I just don't want people to see, oh, here's his face here on a billboard or advertisement or selling this property or that property or tied into a variety of things. I want them to know the history of where I really came from, of coming from basically nothing and achieving a lot of things in life together, not self-made. Even that term, if we can break down the terminology of self-made, I don't think anyone's self-made.
Right.
We're self-driven. We're the only ones that can get our asses up and say, get up to work and get out there and have that motivation and that courage to go to work. But I think there's so many people that make us as individuals, as a company, the people that shut their doors on our faces, the people that open the doors, that introduced us to people, that gave us money or whatever it is. That really is a collaboration of who you are.
Right.
So I'm made of many people, the hurts, the positive, and the negatives. But again, going back to, I became more relatable and more people understood my story when I started talking about it. So we'll go back when I was younger. I grew up in Orange County, but we're talking about the very last city where LA began.
Yeah.
So we're adjacent to basically Hawaiian Gardens and Norwalk, and more of like I want to say like Hispanic people might know this, understand this, the barrio life. And it's a little rough. My parents were teenagers. My mom had me at 16, my sister at 15. We're all 1 year apart,
Wow.
born on the same day. And
Wow.
I'm a Cancer, and I'm a Cancer to the T. Even
Oh.
though I don't say it, I literally are trying to think about, oh, I'm really not a Cancer. I am 100%. I'm a Cancer. But it was a lot of forgiving that I had to allow myself to put myself when I was a foster parent, and when I was 30 and I had
Mhm.
girls, I looked at them and I'm like, "Oh my god, my mom was
Mm.
30 when we were in junior high and my sister was running amok."
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of forgiveness that I had to give to my family, but understanding them as well too, because again, my parents being teenagers,
Yes.
my mom coming from what I would say a privileged lifestyle, my dad very, rough around the edges and just living in the barrio and
So do you think your mom ended up with your dad as, like, the rebellion?
100%. And she'll
Mm.
stay to that to this day.
Okay.
She was raised by a nanny, but my grandmother came, a family of 15
Mm.
from Texas. My
My
grandfather,
grandmother was the youngest of 22
oh my
from
God.
Texas.
Yeah, and my grandfather came from Guadalajara. He crossed the border at 5 years old. So, they came here since they were 13 and
Yeah.
started, picking cherries and worked their way down to Long Beach. And so made a life of themselves, but they didn't have anything.
And it's like realizing that children were raising you,
Yeah,
not
definitely.
not adults, not people with wisdom and
Correct.
with, life lessons. They were
Exactly.
just barely learning and they had to become parents.
They did. And my mom was, she was in an abusive relationship with my father. And we had to see that my dad was addicted to heroin.
Mm.
So, at 4 years old, I'm watching my dad shoot up heroin and my sister being codependent at 5 years old. And so there's a lot of misunderstandings of what I seen going, as a kid. And I really feel like I missed my childhood
Yeah.
because, we grew up in shelters. And
Mm.
that's what that really empowers me today. Why do I belong to so many nonprofit
Mhm.
organizations? Why do I give back so much? Because I know what it is to be that kid in a shelter. I know what it is to be embarrassed and back in the days, girl, we had food stamps.
Oh,
And these
yeah.
food stamps were actually like paper
Oh,
money.
we had yeah, it was like Monopoly money.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they would go you go to a line and they would
Yeah.
have to stamp every one of them.
And then
You
you'd
know,
have people who'd come sell you food
oh,
stamps, you
go
know?
or the worst part was when they were like, aisle 4, change up for
Uh,
change for food stamps. It's like, "Oh my god, I can
yeah.
we" Anyway, so like that, us growing up on that, but it's all builds us to who we are today,
Mhm.
even with the food stamps and so forth. So, just going through that rough lifestyle, living in shelters, 5 kids in a 1 bedroom,
Yeah.
that all made or developed who I am as a
Mhm.
as a person today. And I look at my brothers and sisters and stepsisters and half sisters, and I see, what they suffer from. Maybe they couldn't come out of it completely.
How many siblings do you have?
I have I have a sister by my mom and dad, and my a brother, and then I have two half sisters
Okay.
and two stepsisters, and I'm really close with one of my stepsisters. Like, I mean, I don't even think blood's a thing. I
Yeah,
think
no,
we're
no.
we're so we're so connected. She was 2 years old when she came into our lives.
Wow.
But we've always just she's never judged me,
Mhm.
and so it's like, I was that kid that didn't go to school, so it was hard for me to read and write. I was dyslexic. I had
Really?
ADD,
So when did you not stop going to school? When did you stop? Do
when
you
I went to school, I carried through, but I will say, I think I passed school by just being charming and loving people and getting away, and maybe them seeing like the traumatic. The cops were always being
Mhm.
called, welfare
Mm.
services were on us. Like there was always something dramatic that it went back to the school, and the school found out. So
Yeah.
I think there was a compassionate side to the teachers because they seen how much trauma we were going through, or maybe our Payless shoes girl for $10 walking with holes in our shoes, like,
Aw.
thought it was crazy. I look at my mom, I'm like, "We were $10 back then. Where the hell was that
Aw,
$10?" Like,
yeah.
do you know how many times I was made fun of because of my shoes?
Mm.
And, it just we grew up, learning how to be rough,
Yeah.
and tough,
Yeah.
streetwise smart, which I apply that today,
Which is, really grateful for, right?
It is.
Sometimes I'd rather be street smart than book smart. I mean, they're both amazing, you need them both, but, I mean, come on.
You can't
In
teach
the
that.
world today, you can't teach
You
that.
can't teach that. I can tell there's been a couple times where we were in LA amongst friends where there was a possibility of someone like, taking one of my girlfriend's purses or taking a bag from me. And I was aware.
Yes.
I was aware and literally turned around and confronted the guy, and the guy ran across the street. And I knew it because he was following us into 2
Mhm.
stores. But your surroundings too, or when you need to leave a certain outing or an event that might be not in the best areas, you're aware of that because of how you grew up.
I was just gonna say that. You're a little more hypersensitive because you had to be. I mean,
Yes.
you were raised that way, so you were trained that way.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't feel like I had to be hypersensitive, but I do feel like I'm pretty aware to my
Yeah.
surroundings.
It took me many years. I think I was 22 years old. I was already in real estate, being successful.
Mhm,
There was times that my family wanted to show me the harder life.
mhm.
When they came out and they asked me, "Are you gay?" at 16, I'm like, "I've been picking out my mom's outfits and what to wear since I was 7 years old. Are you kidding me? Am I gay?" And I'm like, and it was like a shock. Oh God,
Yeah.
you know what? And then Hispanic people are like, "Oh, you want that? Get your ass out there."
Mm.
And go show us that because you're gonna come back and you're gonna repent and you'll understand how hard it is to be gay out there and you're gonna die of AIDS and whatever it was because that was our time
Yeah.
frame. But no, you know what? I was homeless at 16. I was living in people's cars, their garages. But girl, I'm gonna tell you that garage looked cute. I painted it. I went through Salvation Army, the Goodwill. I would bring back, just whatever it was and put a piece of glass on that. That was my coffee table. I made do. I've always been a designer at heart.
Yes.
Even and when I was homeless, you better make sure that back seat looked cute, the garage was
I
looking
love
good.
it. I love
And you know
it.
what? I did that because I wanted to show and prove to my mom that that hard life, I can turn that into success. I could show her that just being gay was not a negative,
Yes.
that I could be successful. And the funny part is that like people look at me and be like, David, you're whatever age, 33, 33 going on 46. Anyways, but like people I've never dabbled in drugs. And it's sometimes it upsets me that I have to go to like my dad died of drugs. Like
Uh,
4 years old, watching my dad do heroin our whole life. He was in and out of jail. My sister, my first roommate, ODing, and
mm,
and lungs collapsing, and that's when speed was way back in the 90s.
yeah.
And like no one knows how traumatic I went. So why would I want to even touch that stuff?
Yeah.
It wasn't for me,
Right.
And not only that, though, I was a teenager working 2 jobs. I was scrubbing canopies and tables and chairs, working for at 15 years old, working for a party rental company, and then working for AutoZone. It was called Chief Auto back then. Just to make ends meet after high school.
Yeah. But see, this is like also what I want to get across to people choices.
Hmm.
Because you did have a
You
choice. I
do.
mean, I was blessed to be in a room with this speaker the other day, and he was talking about his life. His mom was doing drugs. He wanted her to love him. So he started smoking crack with her, meth with her. But now he's made the choice to clean up his life and to bring value now that he has money. And in the room, he said, "How many of you are ex addicts?" And these are all people that run rehab facilities now. More than 50% of them raise their hand.
Yes.
So we have a choice because you could have did drugs with your mom or your dad or decided like you were going to feel sorry for yourself, but you chose you were going to teach them a
Mhm.
different lesson that it's
Yeah.
possible to still make your garage look freaking pretty.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
and I did the same thing. I'll never forget. I had this piece of furniture. I'll buy for you $20. I painted it and her boyfriend helped me move it. Like, "Oh, this is nice. Where'd you get it?" I'm all, "Dude, I bought it off of you
Yeah.
guys. I just stained it." Like, so you can make ugly look beautiful in your life, in
Yes.
your mind, in your space. But I'm sure you'd agree with me, making it beautiful in your space helps keep it beautiful in your mind.
It does. And then it gives you relatability as well too. Like when you have a heart for certain things, and then you have zero tolerance for certain things as well. Even with our homeless crisis right here too. Like I know what it is. I can speak on that because I was there at a certain point in my life, but I do give back now.
Mhm.
And I want people. I like the rehabbing and giving them different steps and tools. But then there are people that don't care, and like I have a business that's on a main street, and I see where being a small business owner
Mhm.
and having the money to get that up and running and people just damaging it
Right.
and they call them homeless. But there's different levels of that, the mentality of it, and the unhoused. So it gives you a better perspective of who this individual is. Do they just need help,
Yeah.
or do they really need to be locked up?
Yes.
And then there's a zero tolerance where you're like, oh no, if I could do this, you could do this. Because when
Yes.
people come up to me and say, it was because of this, because of that, I've had everything against me. And that never stopped my hustle. That
Right.
never stopped it. There's ways to evolve from it.
Mhm.
My thing is just when see people see me tatted with a bald head and driving a nice car, they think right away it's drug related or in that. No, I want them to see that you can be successful in
Yes.
today's society. Not to mention half of these tattoos were when I was a teenager and I was rebellious and
I think you look
you know
fabulous.
that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Come on, people are paying me for
mhm.
this look now. But I just want to show people I, I I look this way and I could be a certain demographic. I could, I'm never intimidated to be around people that are homeless or people that are multimillionaire
Right.
billionaires. I'm
I
never
totally agree.
afraid.
I'm
Sorry.
the same exact way. I actually was talking to the homeless guy in the alley the other day, but I can also hang out with the wealthy
Yeah.
because you're confident in
Yeah.
yourself. You know who you are, that's why.
And at the end of the day, like we all sleep, we all eat, and we all walk around. So we're all human. And I
Yes.
think we got to come back to understand that we're all human. We got to give love no matter what it is. Forgiveness is big. And I God, even today, I always have to remind myself, just forgive. I allow myself to have 20 minutes to be upset about anything
Mm, good.
because your client, your friend, whoever's in front of you deserves that undivided attention.
Mhm.
Like even coming up here, there was a situation with one of the deals that we're dealing with. I walked in here knowing that my mind had to be focused on you on whatever we were just
Mm,
discussing,
love it.
and that went away. I can talk about that tomorrow, tonight at 5 o'clock or whatever time, and we can address that. But right now, our time is well spent. So if you only give yourself 20 minutes to be upset, the rest of the day you're probably going to forget about it.
Yeah.
And it just allows you just to,
Feel.
feel, but
Yeah.
also let it go and continue on.
Yeah.
Because you
Well,
might
I
have 3
always say
problems over
feeling
there.
is healing, right? So you feel it for a minute and then you're like, "Okay, well, I felt it. Now how long am I gonna stay there?"
Yeah.
And, honestly, today I was looking for an email and I'm looking and searching. I'm like, "It's taking way too much time. How important is it? Not that important. Put it away."
Yeah.
So I let it go. The chick calls me, "Hey, I'm just calling to let you know if you're still coming." I was like, "Oh, thanks."
There you go.
You let it go and then poof, sometimes it just happens that way. But the longer you stay there, the harder it is to get
Yeah.
out.
And, believing in a higher power, whatever you wanna say. I was grown up as a Christian and I guess gay wasn't part of it, whatever.
That
But
was actually my next question. So,
oh, the
yeah.
religious part.
Yes.
I talk about God all the time because I should be dead right now. I have a bullet like that skimmed my back. I have I don't know why God still has me here. But
Mhm.
you know what? There was something to be said when I was raised in the church that I had a relatability with the Lord and I talked to him all the time. And I said, I don't even have to go to church. I can talk to him in my car. I can talk to him walking, and I feel like there's a sense of fear, of consciousness that I want people to have. And when you don't fear anything, and you don't have someone you think that's higher than you above, whether it be Jesus, the Lord, the higher power, whatever it is,
Mhm.
I think that gives depth to someone because I always want to know that someone's looking after me.
Yes.
And if I want to talk and say Jesus and call him whoever I want to call him, I feel like I can do that.
Yes.
Because you know what? I will say this, that if maybe it's a mental thing, but I feel like he's really helped me through life and it allowed me to speak to him at my darkest days, my most hurtful days. And then, the sad part is the hurt really came from like not even really outsiders because
Mhm.
it is what it is. You have friends for a minute. Um, but I love to keep friends for a long time. But
Mhm.
family is what who actually can sometimes hurt you the
Oh,
most.
yes.
And it's just again going back
Because
to
they're
that.
the ones you care about the
Yeah.
most.
Or you know what? My thing is that everyone wanted to change me as an individual. Well, how come I can't just change you to be more loving?
Yeah.
How come I can't why does gay have to be an issue of anything?
Yes.
We don't have to talk about politics. We don't have to talk about financial situations, and we don't need to talk about religion if you don't want to. But there's so much love that we can all give each other that
Mhm.
doesn't cost anything.
Yes.
And I think that's where I've always felt, God, why is there a miscommunication with my own blood? So that's so hard.
I think with our own blood, right? You're very successful now, and a lot of times they want to stay in their shit,
Mhm.
and you're not allowing them to do that. So you're a mirror because they can't give the excuse of look at my parents. You had the same parents,
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
the same upbringing.
yeah.
So you're the biggest, closest mirror to them. And
That is true.
yeah, and it's more of you could be doing it too. You
You
just
can
choose not to.
hustle your
Mhm.
butt off. I'm sorry. Like there's times I want to sleep in bed. No, I don't sleep in bed. I get my ass up early. I
Yeah.
make sure I answer that phone call. Not only that though, I don't take many vacations,
Mhm.
because well, again, I'm in an industry that I'm creative. So like
I
when you
know. Your life is a vacation for
oh hell
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
every job. But again, there's hustle in that job.
yes.
I don't have to I mean I don't have to choose to take this many jobs. I do because I'm passionate for what I
Yes.
do. And I teach that to younger kids. I give back one of the charities we give back to is Boys and Girls Club. And I look at the kids and I'm like, what comes natural to you?
Mhm.
All right, now let's find ways that we can make money because they're always going to be tied into it. They're always going to love it. And there's, believe it or not, there's always um, avenues of that industry, that natural hobby you like, whatever it is, to make money in that industry.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Was there, like, a person or a moment that really shifted your mindset?
My grandma, and she does that every day. Like, my grandmother probably is my biggest
Oh,
supporter,
I love it.
but she's a hustler. She never stops working. She's a motivator. I mean, she's had tons of businesses. But again, I mean, this is a woman that came from, again, not having a dad.
Mhm.
Her mom was, which I loved her mom, but she had a disconnect with her mom as well. But she like raised us,
Is
and
this your mom's mom?
mom's mom, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's why my mom was so rough, tough on me because I had such a good relationship with her mom.
Mm,
And she wanted that, I guess, relationship possibly with her mom.
mhm.
But her mom gave back to us as kids. Maybe she
Yes.
wasn't there for my mom. And I've given that, as a period of mom. I understand. I
Yeah.
understand where you came from. But your mom has loved us unconditionally. And and it's always been like, in my terms, I always felt like I was the parent.
Mm.
I was always the parent, and it would just and I had such a oh god, I do not wanna cry. But I had such a heart for my mom because she was physically beat by my dad and
Mm.
physically, fought with her husband that she's had for 30 something years now. But, so there's always been a softness to her because I
Because
seen
you
what she
love
went through.
her.
Yeah, I love her, but I also seen where she came from.
Yeah.
But also is there's a relatability because her and I have the same personality.
Mm.
So we both call each other on our stuff, and
Yeah.
and so I was like, "Mom, we maybe we'll never have that mom and son relationship,
Mhm.
but we've always been best friends.
Yeah.
Let's just go from there.
Yeah.
Your mom is sorry is the one who got up and worked and hustled her butt off and had many jobs and ventures, and I'm a protege of my grandmother,
Mhm.
and one business she makes it successful and sell it off, and I can walk into any company and be like, why is it failing? And I can tell why it's failing. And a lot of it has to do with personality. A lot of it has to do with not having understanding your own business in any type of business,
Mhm.
any type of industry. You should know from the front clerk to the end to the back, every conversation. You got to know your craft,
Yes.
and you have to understand it well, so that you understand where you're failing.
My ex was good at that.
Yeah,
He was yeah, he knew everything,
we got to get that
everybody,
excess
every
money, girl.
personality. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Go get that money. Come on, maybe we can be business partners.
No, he's on the street on drugs now.
See,
Yeah,
uh,
that's literally why I kinda started this as well, because I saw my multimillionaire husband nosedive, and now he's living in his car on meth.
you know, it,
Choices.
Again, remember, we came from welfare. By the age before I was 30 years old, I was a millionaire. And when I was 30 years old, thank God I paid for my birthday in advance. I lost everything.
Wow.
I mean, and at a certain point where it was humbling, I was like, good, come take everything. The girls
Mhm.
were going into their first year in college. It allowed me, it was 2008. Everything was just horrible. And I called up the companies. I was like, come pick up these cars. I have like 6 cars. I don't need any of them.
Wow.
I'm down to one house. I'm good. Take all the other houses. Yeah, they were emotional because I had foster kids that I raised in these houses.
Yeah.
But it was okay. I think everything happened for a reason. God made it happen for a reason. The whole world was going through
Mhm.
this crisis, so I had to let it go. But it was just like internally, I was like, God, I came from nothing, and I'm losing everything I worked my whole life to
Yeah.
have. But I rebuilt it again,
Yes.
and I was successful again. But this time, I did it with other people. I asked for help, asking a lot of questions. And I think that's where my biggest platform is: do things with other people,
Mm.
learn from other people, have partnerships, have
Mhm.
LLCs, have things in writing, but also be willing to trust people.
Mhm.
I'm going through a situation right now with a colleague of mine that again it's a learning situation,
Yes.
but I would do it again.
Yeah, that's the hardest, I would say, is trusting people,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I'm sure most of us have been burned, but if you don't trust, you're never going to move
You
forward
won't.
because you'll just be living in fear and living in the past as opposed to creating.
Yeah,
So,
creating.
what advice could you give to, let's say, that person who's gonna maybe vet somebody for a new business? What would be
I
your first question to that person?
Well, in any type of business proposal, you
Mhm.
want to understand the negative of your business. What could be the worst situation, and come up with solutions for that proposition that you're going to give somebody. So if you're going to go to like an investor and say, "Hey, this is my new business. I'd like to do this," they're going to already have negativity and questions already nip those in the butt,
Mhm.
and already have those answered, and
Mhm.
then go forward on what your game plan is for the first 2 years. I think the first 2 years of any business is going to be hard,
Yeah.
and again, if you come with any idea for any type of venture that you would like to bring someone else in, come with your goals set in mind.
Yeah.
Also, the negativity that him or her or they, a company would look and nitpick that. Understand already having those answers so that it's an easy win-win. And they
Mhm.
like, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Mhm.
They already know the plan, the solution. And what about this? Boom, here's your
Mhm.
response. So I think coming really well prepared, and also acknowledging that you've studied other companies, that you've studied other brands, whatever it is, it's you become everybody is a brand. That's good. Everybody is a brand.
I agree 100%. I
Yes.
believe that
How
100%.
does your brand look? How does it communicate with other people? How is your brand relatable to everyone?
Yeah, and what
You
do you want people to think when they see you? What do you want them to think
Yeah.
about, right? I agree. And so we're talking about business. Let's talk about some of your businesses. You're an interior designer. You just, finished the velvet ropes, which
Ooh.
I am like in love with. We have some photos here. Um, yeah, and then you were on the Discovery Channel helping Trixie with her motel. And so, how did you I guess how did you meet Trixie? Let's go there because she is a character
She's a
that
character.
I've seen around and I have no idea her story, but I see her with so many famous people too.
Yes.
How did you meet her?
So, during the pandemic, I went straight into motivating people and teaching people how to live at their house, make it more usable on
Okay.
every inch, turning your side yards into yoga areas, turning a bedroom into an office, creating different spaces during COVID. So, that's what I kind of like. That was my thing, just to like let people know that you can turn your house into this.
Mhm.
That led into Airbnbs and VRBOs, teaching people, well, when this is over, get it prepared because it's going to be a business. Maybe you can turn this house in on the weekends, an Airbnb, and look at the money aspects of it as well.
Yeah.
Also related to real estate, related to design. So all that, then I had some producers approach me and say, you know what? You're doing this really well in Palm Springs. And I said, yeah, I'm teaching people at their house. Why can't you have a house that looks like a resort? Let's turn your house, your basic house, into a resort. What does resorts have? They have day beds, they have cabanas, they have all of these looks, these
Yes.
these murals. Let's bring it into a house. It could be a small house, a big house, and so that's where I got these producers. They said, we'll make this show out of it." The show went to waste during the pandemic, so we couldn't produce that
Was
show.
that your actual house that you live in?
One of the houses I lived in, yes,
Okay, the one I went to,
yes,
which I love that home.
yeah, that was
It's
that was fun.
gorgeous.
So that one's also on Airbnb, so people can use that on the weekends. I stay there during the week. So just creating a space for people to come from all over the world and
Mhm.
see some of your creativity that equals a business that makes you money and helps you to offset your payments because your payments are high. And
Yeah.
when I bought it and I refinanced, rates were high. So it's a compensating factor so that allows people from all over the world to come see a place in Palm Springs.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what happened. And I got this. It was the same producers. They said, "Hey, you do amazing interior design. We have a show here in Palm Springs with this iconic girl, which is Trixie Mattel, and she's a brand herself, famous YouTuber, award-winning, every single thing you
Yes.
possibly think of." So when I got that job, I was like, "Oh, for sure." And then of course the Property Brothers owned the show, so they were the producers behind it. So that was really fun, and just meeting Trixie, knowing her story as well, coming from a trailer park and making something from nothing. I felt like there was a synergy between her and I that we understood each other,
Yeah.
relatability. So I was like, yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
And from then, I finished that hotel, and I was like, you know what? There was things that we had to get approvals from, and another designer, and so forth. I was like, I need to do this for myself. I can do this, but elevate it in the sense of I love old Hollywood,
Mhm.
things I'd never had, and again, bringing my grandmother back into the equation. And so when I stumbled upon this specific boutique hotel, I said, I need to make this old Hollywood, old Palm
Yes.
Springs.
Oh.
And that's what I designed there. So I wear many hats. In
Mhm.
the real estate industry, it's like a drive, like a license that you can drive in California. You can drive all over California. You can sell all over
Yes.
California.
Let's
So,
show the velvet rope, Solomon,
oh yeah, this
'cause,
velvet
oh,
rope is
I
something
know,
to
it's
talk about.
something. It's gorgeous, yes.
Old Hollywood. Yeah, we have an Instagram on that. It's called The Velvet Rope PS.
Okay.
And then of course David Rios Designs.
And you say that, like David Rio's interior design, but you are an exterior designer because your pools, your cabanas, your swings, I
Yes.
mean, they're just
Oh,
gorgeous.
again, a moment, making a moment everywhere, recreating old Hollywood, the Rat Pack. Look at this. This is a design that you would see in the 1930s. You're
Yes.
walking back into like a speakeasy look that only that people that had money, they wanted to act like they were part of the
Yes.
Rat Pack or old Hollywood. You can experience here.
And it's in Palm Springs where they
Yes.
were hanging out. So
Yes,
it's
and
oh,
specifically Old Las Palmas. So I took references from their house. Like, look at this bar. I mean,
that
look at
bar
the
is so
vintage
sexy. The
models. Like,
people you have singing in the
yes.
bar
Oh
is
God.
I know.
It's again. A lot of people say like, what do you do on your downtime? I go listen to live music. Why not
Yeah.
bring an establishment that has live music? I
Yes.
love live music. I love oldies. I love just music that makes you feel a certain
Yes,
way.
exactly. That's what I listen to all the time. Now you know why I fell in love with him. It's so my style. Old Hollywood,
Yes.
just sexy and glamorous and velvet and deep
Everything,
colors.
yes.
Yeah.
Again, you're walking into a time period of old Hollywood, of what it would have looked like, what it would have smelled like, textures, the light fixtures, everything. So I wanted to recreate that because it's going
Mhm.
away.
Yeah.
So, but that's not to mention I can do a mid-century home. I could do a contemporary home.
Yes.
I can style anything. And the best part is that I listen to the homeowners.
Right.
In any type of business, listen to your clientele as well to hear what they're really trying to convey,
Mhm.
and whether it be any venture, any type of business, because they already have their own thought process. If you can collaborate with that, it's a win-win situation.
Well, and the truth is, they come to you because they know you. They see what you do. That's what they're hoping for.
Yes.
Maybe not as bold as
Yeah.
some others,
Oh,
but
I'm
they
bold.
want that. They want that.
They do.
They want to feel sexy when they
They want
want
a
to.
conversation piece, a
Yeah.
conversation piece. Again, any industry, you can really create it, make it different. And that's what makes you successful. If there's a little inch that makes your business different from the next, I
Yeah.
don't care if it's printing cards. I don't care if it's like a house cleaning or whatever it is. What makes you different?
Mhm.
Is it your logo? And then again, logos, keep it simple, short and
Yeah.
simple. Is the font correct? Is it not too busy? I see these real estate signs.
Mhm.
What's so funny is I have a QR code, I have an email address, I have a telephone number, I have a name, I have this, I have a picture, I have the company's logo. It is too busy.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to see your name gigantic. I want to see a telephone number
Yes.
and maybe a picture of you.
Yeah.
And that
And
is
an
it.
arrow that I
Yeah.
know exactly where it's pointing.
Yes. Simplify your life, simplify your signage, your branding. Stop branding other brands.
Mhm.
Make your name. You will always take your name with you. Keep your phone number consistent.
Mhm.
These are the things that people need to know on any level, any brand. I mean, keep it consistent. Don't ever change your telephone number. Answer people's phone calls. Again, you're branding your name because if you ever leave a certain company and your name is everything, reputation is everything.
Mhm.
When people say, "Oh my God, why do you kiss this person's butt?" Or why do you do? Because your reputation is everything.
Yeah.
You don't need to know a lot of stuff, but it's the way you treat people
Mhm.
and have respect for anybody and everybody. There's millionaires that are walking around with flip flops and a tank top. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
treat them
You
like you
don't
would.
know who's who.
Yeah,
And you don't need to.
you
I
don't
can't stand people who meet people and then they look at their Instagram to see like how many it's like, do you like them or you don't?
exactly.
I like you or I don't. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care if you've been on TV. You're
Yeah,
either nice or you're an asshole, period. Like
exactly.
just treat people kindly. It's
And the other
nothing
thing too is like is the Instagram followers. I mean, it sets a bar of who you are. However, my numbers stay the same a lot. You know why? Because I'm out there buying stuff. People love me and they engage because you could tell by the comments and our
Mhm.
concerns and the questions that we have on there. That's true following. You could have 100,000 followers, but are you really connected with
Right.
those
And you're
followers?
very educational. You give a lot of educational content. You give a lot of design. You give a lot of ideas. You give, information, floor and decor. When I
Yes.
designed my house, my favorite place. not so expensive, right?
Yes.
Not the highest end. Everybody could find something. It's just in your eye.
Mhm.
You see it or you don't. But you can find it at Floor and Decor. You can find it at Home Goods. You
Home
can.
Goods, anything.
Mm-hmm.
Wayfair, and then everyone's like, "Why aren't you charging for these tips and tools?" Because why? Half the people aren't going to take them anyways, and half the people aren't going to actually implement what I'm telling them. So, but the few people that are, the
Yes.
percentages that are going to be really grateful for
Yes.
that. And if I can save people money, that's a win-win situation. Again, it's giving back and tools of things that I messed up or I overspent on, and these are ways that people can be successful in their designs
Mm-hmm.
and save money. Because like I mean, someone say design my fireplace. I could design that fireplace and you're gonna get the same comments whether you spent 30,000 with me or 300 or $30.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, a can of spray paint and some rocks. I mean, come
Oh
on, let's
my
go.
David, my favorite spray paint. I met my husband, right? Multimillionaire. And oh, we'll take care of that. I'm like, "Ugh, just give me a freaking can of spray
Yeah,
paint so I could just make it brown and the plants will
yeah,
grow over it. It'll look good, you know? Tired of looking at a stupid
yeah,
pink wall. But it's like sometimes it's just so
yeah.
easy. They don't even think about it.
And I don't know if I favor women, but because I go to these sometimes I get invited to these women's events. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God, another women's event. Like, why can't it just be a person event? But you know what? I do tend to say, or I'm more appealing to women because, again, my heart goes back to my mom not having that umph to do that, and so now I see when women do things by themselves, like yourself, when you go get a paintbrush and a can of paint or spray paint or anything that even just like you're tightening up a
Yes.
bulb or changing a lock, whatever it is. I think that's so empowering because I wished my mom did that. I
Mm,
wish my sister would have learned that. I wish women that could have been even more or can still be,
right.
still can be a little bit more hands on. I love that, and when women do that, that's why I'm always saying like, "Girl, go get this," or "This is on sale," or this and that. Maybe the husband's not going to do it, but the wife can, or single moms.
Yes.
I just love that because my heart still goes back to gotta if maybe if I was of this age and I was talking to my mom, she would listen to me.
Yeah.
She would have heard me and she probably would have implemented this stuff.
And that's the saddest part too. And I always want my audience to know that like our kids are smart. We need to listen to our children more.
Mhm,
I didn't listen to my son enough either, but their instincts are so right on point,
mhm.
and we take them for granted. Like we're the adult, right? And it's like, no, there's a lot of wisdom in a child. And we do. But I was that type of mom. I would, if I was renting and I had a clog, I'd fix my own drain. I
Yeah,
dated this guy who's like, call the landlord. I'm all, really? You can't buy a freaking bottle of Drano,
yeah.
I'd paint the rooms if I didn't like. I didn't need people to. I wanted it to be pretty. I'd have to make it pretty, right?
Exactly, and you're signing a lease for a year anyways.
Yeah,
That doorknob on Amazon is $9. Change the
exactly.
damn doorknob. You want a new light fixture outside? That's another $10. You want numbers on your house? Those are $3
Because
each.
the feeling you get when you
Yes.
walk in that
Come
home
on.
is priceless.
Yes.
And that's going to make you feel like the
Yes.
$1,000,000 for spending 15 or 50, whatever the
Exactly.
case may be.
I've walked into the cutest apartments and I'm like, "You did this yourself," and of course they don't own it. But I mean, it's you're gonna be there for a year. Why not look good? You can
Yes.
always unscrew those little knobs or paint them or
Yeah,
whatever.
take the light fixture with you if it's so important and, put the old one back on. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And you wanna come home to something nice. I always teach, even in your bedding, like, make your bed every day.
Mhm.
If you come home and you had a crappy day and you come home and you have tight sheet, it's that the fitted sheet
Yeah.
has got to be tight.
Yeah.
It has to be tight because then you sleep better. I swear to God, you sleep
It's
sleep
true.
better. And then go to Home Goods and make sure that you change out your pillows once a year. They're $19.
Yeah.
Girl, they're 19 bucks.
Yeah.
That the way you sleep, I cannot tell you, like, emphasize that enough. Wash your sheets once a week at least. Get some new pillows once a year. They're
So
$19.
important.
You will wake up better, even if you had a crappy day.
Yes.
And if you come home and your bed is made, even if you just throw your comforter over, your duvet over, you just feel better coming home to that.
You
And why
take it for
not?
granted
Mhm.
and you stop seeing it.
Yes.
But when you go to a nice hotel, you come home and then you see everything. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you just get in the habit of washing every week and
Mhm.
changing your pillows, and it always looks new and
Yes.
crisp and feels new and crisp.
Oh, and parents, make sure that you force. I'm listening to me, going on the record and say that. Make sure you force your kids to start the wash. Start the wash, start the rice, start the beans, start because I was so upset as a kid. "Ugh,
Mm.
my mom made me do this and this and that. I hate it. And as I got older and I was on my own, oh my
Mhm.
God, wait, I do know how to make rice. Oh my God, I do know how to
Mhm.
wash my own clothes. Oh, I knew, and they'll thank you later on. And you know what? The best part is the sons when
Yeah.
they start dating girls, and these moms are no one knows how to make tortillas.
Love me.
They don't know how to clean. They don't know, how to, and these boys know how to clean. And so I think it's okay to have these boys, straight, gay, whatever. Let them learn some things
Yes.
that why does it have to be a role of a woman
No.
or a man? It's a shared item. If you own a home, let your wife go out there and garden. Let your
Yes.
husband go out there and cook for your kids.
Yep.
What this manly and this woman and family? No, we're all equals.
It's a team
Yes, it
effort.
is.
It takes a village. When they say
Mhm.
it takes a village, it takes a village. So God forbid the village that's living under the roof isn't helping each other. Yeah, I used to tell my son we're a team. He
Yeah,
was 9 years old doing his laundry. We lived in a secure apartment. He
yeah,
could take his little basket down there, put the laundry in, and come back up while it washed,
yeah,
And he did. And the landlord's like, "Oh, I think I did my son a disservice." And his wife told her, "You did,
yeah. Because
Be-
you never know. I mean, people go through marriages and whatever, and they like, oh, I don't know how this. My wife did this. Well, you know what? There's no roles for anybody. Like it's a collaboration of your partnership, and people will love that. I mean, yeah, it just shows parenting skills.
Yes.
And it's funny when I talk to my girlfriends, they're like, oh, I don't know how to scramble egg. Oh, I'm like, how do you not know how to make rice?
I
How do you
know.
not know how to make a proper egg?
That's what
It's
I do with
it's crazy.
the kids that I work with at the mission, because a lot of them don't know how to boil an egg. But I hate to do this. We have to
Oh,
go,
we're
but I
done.
do want you to give one last piece of advice to that young boy who's like living a really rough life right now and doesn't see a future at all.
My best thing was going to TV and looking at people that I wanted to mimic. They wanted to be like Oprah was a big influence for
Okay.
me. Oh God, I hate to say this, but even Donald Trump, when I was younger, was
Mhm.
was a role model for me. Not now, but I look at people that you want to be like, and no, put it out there. Say you're going to be it. Put it out in the universe. Say you're going to do this. Say you're going to do it. Make short-term goals here to 3 months, here to 6 months. Don't make a 5-year goal because if 5 years, your life is going to change in 5 years.
Mhm.
And I would say that the best thing is look at people that you want to be. Read books on them. How did they get there? And the funny part is, and the most blessing of all this is they probably came from a life very similar to
Mm.
yours. Very similar to yours. So look at the people that you look up to. They're probably hustlers.
Mhm.
They probably been through a lot of struggles. And just know that know in your heart and your mind that you have a future within yourself and with others. With others.
Awesome.
Thank you again.
Oh, thank you, David. You heard it from David himself, right? Find the people that you want to, that you desire to aspire to be, emulate them. No fake it till you make it, right? Just emulate them and believe that you can also achieve greatness, because we can. We're children, man, of the King, right?
We can
We can do whatever we want. So,
together.
together,
I love you.
together. I love you too. All right. Bye. Till next time, guys. Thanks for joining.